morning sun shines on the gleaming hide of a muscular ranch horse. The aroma of bacon and coffee drifts from the wood cook stove at a cow camp. Silver spurs jingle as the men and women of the West get set for another day in the saddle. From the heart of Canada's finest ranching country, this is the Spirit of the West with rancher and horse trainer Hugh McLennan and his collection of music, poetry, and conversations with the folks who live and work with horses and cattle in the Spirit of the West.
Well, it's really been interesting here in the big city of Vancouver. This cowboy couple are kind of out of our element. But the Kidney Foundation has done a wonderful job keeping us going after the transplant. But the folks we mingle with down here, really for the most part, have no idea what life is like outside the city. And when they hear about some of the situations ranching folks deal with almost daily, they just about can't believe it. And today, a colorful couple will share several true life adventures.
So he finally comes to a bit of a flat spot and stops, and we're way up top there watching it all going, wow, thank God we got a gun, because there's no way this horse is making it, right?
Baxter Black has a pretty good story about hauling big round bales on a homemade flat deck trailer.
He mashed on the brakes and 3 flaming bales toppled off the right side in front of the Land of Enchantment nursing home.
And where the heck are the cattle markets headed in 2018? Find out on the Rangeland News.
By and large, we do expect to see prices come down, but just by a little bit.
And it was so good to see that Brian Solomon will be back at the Kamloops Cowboy Festival in March, and he's in today's Cowboy Poetry Spotlight. Our classic Song of the West is sung by a Western music legend, and it was written by a well-known Albertan. And on the Irvin Saddles and Western Wear horse training file, a guy bought a horse because he liked the horse's looks. But he's not happy with the horse, and the seller won't take him back, so what can he do? A thrilling, chilling story from a young cowboy coming up after we boogie on down the trail with Everywhere West.
Is all done. Straddle your pony, get ready to run. We'll let out a holler like a coyote's wail, then we'll boogie on down the trail. We'll head to the bunkhouse and slap on a shine. Jump in the saddle, the dance starts at 9. It's time to be shaking the knots from our tail, so let's boogie on down the trail. It's been a month of Sundays of cattle, dust and sun. These payday boys were overdue to have us a little fun. So board up the windows, the boys are in town. We got the money to spend, girls, we won't let you down. Have just enough fun, yeah, to stay out of jail. Then we'll boogie on down the trail. It's been a month of Sundays of cattle, dust and sun. These payday boys were overdue to have us a little fun. So board up the windows, the boys are in town. We got the money to spend, girls, we won't let you down. Have just enough fun, yeah, to stay out of jail. Then we'll boogie on down the trail. Then we'll boogie on down the trail in rhythm. Then we'll boogie on down the trail.
Ryan Martin started that group a number of years ago, and I'm not sure even if they're still together right now. But Darcy Lutmore has cowboyed for a number of outfits around the West. He's made his living training horses and as a farrier and now as a livestock hauler. And we were spellbound when he told us this story.
You were bringing cows and calves in late in the winter or something on a fairly young green horse, and it resulted in some pretty serious injuries?
Old broke horse.
Okay.
15 years old, my old broke Appaloosa.
Man, and where did this happen?
It was out Deadman's Creek. I ran a few head of cows out there, and I was just bringing in cows one winter, and one calf wouldn't come home, so I pulled my rope off and roped him, and halter broke him. Everything went just great.
Did you have a long ways to come?
It was probably a good 5 miles get home, but it was really cold, so I did something that every single cowboy is going to completely shudder. I stuck my hand through all of the loops of my rope, and just so I could flex my fingers, warm them up a bit.
So you got the coils sort of
wrapped around my wrist. That's the look.
But, a good reliable horse and a little bitty calf. So.
Exactly. So we were riding home, and we'd crossed the same creek a few times, back and forth. And the very last time we were crossing the creek, I thought maybe I should stop and fix things up just in case something happens. But it was too late, and he'd stepped down and cracked the ice, and he bolted one way, and the calf bolted another way, and pulled me off over backwards. And
man, so those coils just tightened right up?
Yep. Tightened right up on my wrist, and I figured, no big deal. Let's just hit the ground, get the wind knocked out of me, and have to get up and find my horse. But unfortunately, one of my loops got hooked on my saddle horn as I came off the back, and ended up getting drug, and
oh my gosh,
probably drug about, I don't know, a couple of 100 yards.
So your good old Appy is dragging you and the calf.
Yes, and I'm tied on.
The calf's at the end and you're in the middle.
Wow. Well, this gets even more fascinating, and you'll hear the next chapter and a great song from the charming ranch wife Trinity Seeley when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. Well, we left Darcy Lutmore in a precarious situation. His rope coils tight around his arm, a coil tight around the saddle horn, and the calf on the end of the rope, and Darcy being dragged along between his horse and the calf.
So your good old Appy is dragging you and the calf.
Yes, and I'm tied on.
The calf's at the end and you're in the middle.
Well, I was more like 2 feet behind his hind feet, so every stride he was taking, he was kicking me face, upper body, just pummeling me. So, yeah.
So then, when everything finally came to a stop, what happened then?
Well, I was bringing the cows down through a set of corrals, and of course I'd left all the gates open because I wanted all the cows to go right through the corrals and into the hay fields. So the horse went through the gates, and he went through probably 4 gates, and then the last run, he got through the gate, but the calf's head got stuck in the gate post, and that finally yanked the saddle over sideways, popped my rope off the saddle horn, and all that, and I was pretty busted up.
Man. So what were some of the results of that to your body?
Let's see, 2 broken wrists, 6 broken ribs, a lacerated lung, broken shoulder, cracked my skull open, I was leaking brain fluid out my ear, and broke 2 vertebrae in my back.
Oh, man.
And then I got to get up and walk home.
You did?
Well, I walked into the neighbors.
How far was that?
Actually, it was only probably a couple 100 yards, but it felt like 5 miles.
Yeah. Did you have any idea at that time what damage you had done to yourself?
Well, I knew there was something wrong with my wrists, because when I went to fix the saddle on my horse, my hands just kind of dangled at the end of my arms, but other than that, if I had been closer to home, I would have just gone home, gone to bed.
Oh, and woke up dead.
Yeah.
My God.
Well, there's more to come from this episode, but right now, here's a fine song from Trinity Seeley. She was actually raised in British Columbia's Chilcotin country, and her and her husband and family have worked on ranches all around the West, and she's been a favorite at the Kamloops Cowboy Festival, too.
The old cow boss to the cowhand crowd. 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 maybe more. They were riding sky high when the 2 went for every pace, waiting to see if his luck would prevail. They watched with intent the old wooden rails. They rode round and round in the old log corrals, holding on tight for 100 years bound. Many before them stepped foot in the wind. Colts became horses and boys became men. With boots stuck deep in the stirrups, they rode, one hand on the rope, one digging for gold. Round and round they did run like the wind, the ghosts from the past riding within. After a while that pony subdued, his rider jumped off, said, "Boy, that'll do." He patted his neck with a give and a try. They left there that day, and a look in their eye. They rode round and round in the old log corrals, holding on tight for 100 years bound. Many before them stepped foot in the wind. The colts became horses and boys became men.
And now let's pick up where we left off with Darcy and his big adventure.
If I had been closer to home, I would have just gone home, gone to bed.
Oh, and woke up dead.
Yeah.
My gosh. So did they airlift you somewhere?
No, they called the ambulance and hauled me into the Kamloops hospital, and I spent 10 days in ICU and all that, and they finally got tired of me and kicked me out and let me go home.
So how long was it after they let you out that you were back on a horse?
Back on a horse, that was probably about 5 months. But I was back shoeing probably 2 months later.
Yeah.
Shoeing very little. One horse a week type thing.
Yeah. Or 1 foot on Monday and 1 foot on Tuesday.
Yeah, about that.
The way I used to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Any lingering effects now from that?
Back hurts. And mainly just the back.
Right.
But it's slowly getting better. That was 3 years ago. So
3 years, wow.
Yeah.
And how's the horse doing?
Well, I still have him.
Oh, yeah, he's going down here.
Yeah, just Joey.
And the calf survived?
No, unfortunately, the calf died.
Oh,
I think I broke his neck.
Oh, sad ending to the story.
Next, Baxter Black has a wild and true tale about hauling big round bales on a homemade flat deck trailer. Another song that'll stay in your head all week long. And then the Rangeland News when the Spirit of the West continues right after this.
Howdy, friends. This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan with a little peek at Meals on Wheels for steers. Ladies and gentlemen and followers of cowboy humor, I have carved another book from my funny bone, guaranteed to tickle your humorous. Sorry. The title is Scrambled Wisdom. Almost isn't is it? Which almost makes sense. Regardless, it's almost $20, only $19.95 plus shipping. Call 800-654-2550 or online at baxterblack.com. Here's a joke. What did he get on his IQ test? Drool. Shannon had a little roping arena, and he always kept a handful of steers around. He asked Byron to find him some cheap hay and offered to let him use his homemade flatbed fenderless trailer. Byron located a stack of high gear that had been baled during the Clinton administration and put up wet. He got it for $1 a bale, managed to get 60 bales on the old stout trailer, and started for Shannon's arena. Well, down the road a little ways, Byron began to smell smoke. It wasn't the right time of year to be burning ditches. Well, what had happened was the bales were stacked on top of the tandem axle tires, and friction was busy igniting the hay. Byron panicked and called Shannon on his cell phone. The answering machine picked up. Shannon's Arena and Livestock Exchange, roping 3 days a week. We board horses, do excavation, hoof trimming, horse chiropractic, and drywall. Please call back or leave a message. Adios, y'all. Shannon, it's Byron. The trailer's smoking. Call me. Cars were whizzing by, honking and pointing. Flickers of fire could be seen, fanned by the headwinds. You have reached Shannon's Arena and Livestock Exchange. We have roping 3 days a week, etc. Shannon, the hay's on fire. Call me. Byron swerved his pyrotechnic hay wagon into a gravel clearing. He mashed on the brakes, and 3 flaming bales toppled off the right side in front of the Land of Enchantment nursing home. You have reached Shannon's Arena and Livestock Exchange, etc. Shannon, we're cooked. Call me! Well, between the nursing home garden hose and the local fire department, Shannon's hay and trailer tires were soon soaked and out of danger. Byron proceeded on and parked the rig in Shannon's Arena. Well, as everyone knows, it is impossible to extinguish a stack of burning hay. 2 days later, it was still warm to the touch, and every time a bale was pulled off, it would hit the oxygen and flame up. Shannon finally scattered the mess the best he could and turned 30 hungry roping steers onto it. They ate it with relish. Byron said it was no wonder that it's not every day they get a hot meal. This is Baxter Black on Spirit of the West with Hugh McLennan. Thanks for listening.
How about a weekend pass to the 22nd Annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival, March 15th to 18th, 2018. A terrific list of entertainers, including Gary Prescott.
I once rode with the best of the cowboys back in the days of my youth.
Brian Salmon.
So who would pack the lantern? There are some buckaroos that would pack it tall and proud just like we need to do.
Tom Cole.
Out on the plains, an old cowboy sings a song to his herd.
The BC Cowboy Hall of Fame inductions, dinner shows, evening concerts, a wonderful art and gear show, the Art of the West show and sale, workshops, and everything from guitar picking to saddle making. The best place to get all the details is bcchs.com, and for tickets, call 1-888-763-2221. Just ahead of the Rangeland News, R.J. Vandegrift is a sure enough Texas cowboy, a fine singer, songwriter, and an actor. And he wrote this a while back, and I just found it to be one of those songs that stays in your mind for a long time. Just something about the story of this cowboy philosopher.
There was a lifetime of living in the lines on his face. His skin was brown as leather from those years of cowboy days. His hands were bit and drawn with arthritis and the pain, and his crown of coal black hair had turned silver gray. He had a handshake strong and steady, like the horses he once rode, a voice soft and soothing, like the ladies he had known. He was a cowboy philosopher with a PhD in life, whose wisdoms ring like melodies are playing in my mind. He'd say, put your faith in Jesus, not what politicians say. Get up every morning, son, and live life every day. If your pony goes to pitching, ride him best you can. But if you can't get him covered, find a soft place to land. He'd been a bronco peeler way back in the day. He rode a Bob Meyer saddle, and he said it tall and straight. Folks said it's sort of spooky how he read a horse's mind, like he knew what they were thinking when he looked into their eyes. He'd say, wet saddle blankets, boys, a little patience and some time sure goes a long, long way to shape a horse's mind. Remember, horses all like people, there's good ones and there's bad, but with horses it don't matter just so long as they get fed. I once asked him what's the secret to this mystery of life. He simply smiled and looked at me with a twinkle in his eye. He said, some are seeking fortune, others look for fame. If you're doing what you love, son, you're a winner in life's game. You've got to put your faith in Jesus, not what politicians say. Get up every morning, son, and live life every day. If you're can. But if you can't get him covered, find a soft place to land. An open Bible lay beside him, where he marked his favorite verse. His boots were shined, his jeans were pressed, and he wore a new white shirt. Now one hand held his cowboy hat lying on his chest. The other was on his saddle sitting right next to his bed. A note was on the table he'd written before he passed. There's a bottle in the cabinets, boys, fill yourselves a glass. Have a toast to our good times, and if it's all the same, don't waste your prayers on me, pray for slow falling rain. Yes, he's going to meet his maker, that big boss in the sky. I'm sure he'll have plenty of good horses there to ride. This old cowboy philosopher with a PhD in life, whose wisdoms ring like melodies just playing in my mind. He'd say, put your faith in Jesus, not what politicians say. Get up every morning, son, and live life every day. If your pony goes to pitching, ride him best you can. But if you can't get him covered, find a soft place to land. There was a lifetime of living in the lines on his face.
Now the news of the Rangeland, a roundup of news and coming events from around the West.
At the top of page 1, looking down the trail of 2018, we're wondering about where livestock prices might be headed, and it could be down. Here's Gary Crawford with an expert.
In 2017, the bright note in the farm commodity price picture has been livestock and dairy prices, which were mostly higher than 2016. Livestock returns up 7.6%. What's the outlook for 2018?
By and large, we do expect to see prices come down, but just by a little bit.
Agriculture Department Chief Economist Rob Johansson.
We expect to see steer prices come down by about $4 a hundredweight. Hog prices coming down by, again, about $4 a hundredweight.
Steers expected to average about 117.25, hogs 47.5. Both beef and pork production projected up by about 5%. On the dairy side, the all milk price actually climbed a bit in 2017, but Johansson says it's going to drop in 2018.
But not by much, by about 35 cents a hundredweight for the all milk price. And that's still remaining in relatively strong territory if you compare it to the feed costs that they're incurring.
And if prices behave as expected, they will not trigger payments to most producers under the Margin Protection Program. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.
Oh, and we found one of our good young cows dead in the pasture. We were telling a neighbor about it, and he said he learned a long time ago that if you're going to raise livestock, there will be times when you're going to have dead stock. Well, what do you think might be the leading cause of death loss in the North American cattle industry? Well, a new report from USDA says the leading cause of non-predator death loss is respiratory disease. Non-predator death loss accounted for almost 98% of all deaths on adult cattle and 89% for calves. Death loss due to predators has increased in the last report since 2010, but it still remains a relatively low percentage of the total. The report lists total death loss in 2016 at about 3.9 million head, down slightly to just under 4 million in 2010. The percentage of calf deaths attributed to predators in 2016 is up 11.1%. And coyotes accounted for the highest percentage of cattle deaths due to predators, 40.5%, and the highest percentage of calf deaths due to predators at 53.1%. Well, the reviews are in from the 2017 edition of Farm Fair International, and they're pretty positive from most reports. This year's event, the 44th Farm Fair, attracted the highest attendance numbers to date, with audiences including families, international buyers, world-class competitors, and international trade experts. Over 140 international buyers from 11 different countries attended Farm Fair International in 2017, right through the Northland's inbound buyer program, and buyers attending the event conducted business, traded industry knowledge, and bought top-quality genetics and live cattle from Alberta producers. Coming up at the BC Livestock Co-op Yards in Kamloops, another bred cow and heifer sale on January the 30th, and the next sale at Williams Lake is February the 8th. You can get all the information, and you can watch the sales live at their website, bclivestock.bc.ca. Meanwhile, over at the Innisfail Auction Market, 2 horse sales a month, regular cattle sales every Wednesday, lots of bred and cow and heifer sales coming up, and bull sales too. You can see InnisfailAuctionMarket.com or give them a call at 1-800-710-3166. And that takes us down to the final item. And thanks to Saskatchewan ranch wife Leanne Bellway for this one. And apparently scientists say that the universe we know is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Leanne says they forgot to mention morons. And that's the Rangeland News. Coming up on the Irvin Saddles and Western Wear horse training file. A guy bought a horse mostly because he liked the horse's looks, but after a few weeks, he's not happy with the horse at all, and the seller will not take him back. Is there anything he can do? That's coming up when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. We will look at a fairly common situation in the horse industry. Someone bought a horse that it turns out they're not happy with. And is there anything he can do about it? We'll look at that on the Irvin Saddles and Western Wear horse training file, but first, here's the top hand working cowboy, outstanding bronc rider, Matt Robertson.
I've made rich men richer. I've seen my share of long and hard days. I got 1,000-mile stare. But through the hard times, there was kindness too. For the man who owns me, I know it breaks his heart in two. Got a young family in this dog-eat-dog world, and I know he wants some better for his little boy and girl. They all stand around me, brushes in a pail. Today there's a competition, and then there's a sale, and I'm gonna run my heart out, gonna slide and turn, gonna do the best at everything that I've learned, and I stay and raise these kids, teach them how to ride. But today the highest bidder's gonna own a cowboy's pride. Last night I watched the stars. It was clear and calm. In the middle of the night, I saw the porch light on. I nickered like I do, 'cause I always look for him. So I walked on over when I heard him in the pen. Fingers in my mane, kindness from his hand. You know I got so much respect for this man that I'm gonna run my heart out, gonna slide and turn, gonna do the best at everything that I've learned, and I stay and raise these kids, teach them how to ride. But today the highest bidder's gonna own a cowboy's pride. Yeah, I'm gonna run my heart out, I'm gonna slide and turn, gonna do the best
The 17th annual Spirit of the West Cruise will be something unforgettable. My wife Billy and I will be hosting a big group of ranchers, farmers, horse and cattle folks, and Spirit of the West listeners for a trip I know many of you have had on your bucket list for a long time. September 16th, 2018, we will sail out of Quebec City and cruise Canada's maritime provinces in all the glory of the fall colors, including stops in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, Sydney and Halifax, Nova Scotia, St. John, New Brunswick and the Bay of Fundy, Bar Harbor, Maine, Boston, Portland, Maine, and Cape Liberty, New Jersey, with an optional stay in New York City. Now, just for the Spirit of the West group, we have a tour of a cattle operation in Nova Scotia. We'll have all our great Western music concerts and sing-alongs, and we'll be swapping lots of ranching stories. And we'll have a lot of special activities just for our group. You'll find more details on the cruise section of our website at hugh-mclennan.com and on our cruise Facebook page, and you can always call the toll-free number 1-800-530-0131. Well, our optional 3-day New York City package, it seems, is pretty popular, and we're sure looking forward to that big league ball game. City Field, of course, has been transformed into a hockey rink this winter, but we'll be there to watch the Mets in September, and I'll have more great news about the cruise next week.
Now it's time for the Horse Training File, brought to you by Irvine Tack and Western Wear, Canada's largest Western store.
At Irvine Tack and Western Wear, you won't find this.
Hey, yo!
But you will find this.
Welcome to Irvin's. How can I help you?
You won't find this.
What size boots you wear there, boy? You got tiny feet.
But you will find this.
Absolutely, we have your size. In fact, I've got the perfect pair for you right here.
The one and only Irvine Tack and Western Wear, something for everyone. Cowboys and cowgirls to city folks too. It's Western Wear with a welcome twist. Off exit 305 on Highway 2 by Crossfield. Open 7 days a week.
Canada's largest Western store.
Got a call from a rider who expressed a lot of frustration. He had been looking to buy a horse for quite some time. Not necessarily a high-performance horse, just a good all-round saddle horse that he could ride on trails, maybe go and help neighbors move cattle, but most of all, be safe. Well, he looked at this nice 8-year-old unregistered gelding, really liked his color and his looks, tried him out at the owner's place, and bought him on the spot. When he got the horse home, he was pretty good for the first few rides in the arena, but about 2 weeks later, he was riding him on the trail, a grouse flew up beside him and the horse spooked, jumped sideways, and dumped the guy off. He wasn't hurt, but from that point on, the horse seemed to be really spooky, and the guy never felt comfortable riding him, and he felt like he was stuck with something he didn't want. And the seller said, no, a deal's a deal, and you bought him as is, and I don't want him back. A little indication maybe about why the guy wanted to sell him. Anyway, buying a horse can be a challenge for both the buyer and the seller. Often I'll advise people, if at all possible, to take the horse home and try him for at least 2 weeks and then make a decision, but some sellers are reluctant to do that, and for good reasons too. They've had horses come back with saddle sores, lameness, or a lot of other issues, so you can't really blame them sometimes. A lot of fairly new riders think an experienced ranch gelding would be an ideal horse, but some talented, experienced, cow-smart ranch geldings act like PRCA broncs on cool mornings. So be realistic. Are you looking for an athlete or a quiet, gentle mount? If you can talk with the person who's ridden the horse you're interested in and find out honestly what issues that horse might have, it can save you a lot of uncertainty. Sadly, there are pens and paddocks and pastures full of horses that owners paid good money for but really don't want to ride. And for Irvine Saddles and Western Wear, that's the Horse Trading File. How about a weekend pass to the 22nd Annual Kamloops Cowboy Festival, March 15th to 18th, 2018. A terrific list of entertainers, including Gary Prescott.
I once rode with the best of the cowboys back in the days of my youth.
Brian Salmon.
So who would pack the lantern? There are some buckaroos that would pack it tall and proud just like we need to do.
Tom Cole.
Out on the plains an old cowboy sings a song to his herd.
The BC Cowboy Hall of Fame inductions, dinner shows, evening concerts, a wonderful art and gear show, the Art of the West show and sale, workshops, and everything from guitar picking to saddle making. The best place to get all the details is bcchs.com, and for tickets, call 1-888-763-2221. We're visiting with Darcy and Colleen Lutmer this week, and after Darcy's big adventure, Colleen had one.
But anyways, we're going over Warner Pass, which is in the South Chilcotins there, and we're coming up to it, and we got our pack horse, and he's coming free behind us because we're leading our horses over this. So we thought, well, he'll just follow behind us, right? And so we're leading horses over this quite a heavy snowpack and trying to get over it, and he sees that he's following us, and then he decides the way we're going he doesn't like, so he goes along down below us. So we see he's not following us. So we stop and we go to try to get him, and we turn him around and we bring him back to us again. And again, you know, we don't want to tie him to any of the other horses in case something happens, and he's going to pull them down the mountain too, right? And so we put him back in, and we try to, you know, someone goes behind him trying to push him behind, right? One person's in front, one's behind, trying to get him to follow us up this pass. And anyways, and again he veers off, and we weren't able to catch him in time, and as he veers off, he steps in this the snow sinks underneath him, and he falls downhill, his pack downhill, and as he does, he rolls side to side about 4 times. But then in the midst of him rolling side to side, he somehow turns, and now he's endoing down this mountain. And he probably fell, I don't know, 500 feet or something, 600 feet. But it's not only over snow, it was in Warner Pass. It's quite a real rocky pass. And so where there wasn't snow, there's huge boulders. And so he's hitting all these boulders. You know, when he runs out of snow, he's rolling over these boulders, right? So he finally comes to a bit of a flat spot and stops, and we're way up top there watching it all going, wow, thank God we got a gun, because there's no way this horse is making it, right?
Well, there's more to that story after Dawn Edwards, and one for the cowboys who spend winter up in some remote, lonesome line camp.
Way up in the mountains by the timber line, there's a run-down cabin you can barely find. It's got a few provisions for a man to use, but there ain't a thing to drive away the line shack blues. With promises of springtime and a winter's pay, the foreman sent me here, and here is where I'll stay. He told me about the peace and quiet and the view, but he never said a thing about the line shack blues. I'm all alone, up here where the zephyrs and the coyotes moan. Ooh, it's lonesome too. A man could lose his mind from them old line shack blues. I'm just about as bored as a man can be. I'm getting mighty tired of my own company. I've told me every story that I ever knew. One-sided conversation got the line shack blues. Ooh, I'm all alone, up here where the zephyrs and the coyotes moan. Ooh, it's lonesome too. A man could lose his mind from them old line shack blues. I keep hoping maybe this is worth it all, if I can only make it till the April thaw. I'll tell you, partner, there's one thing I know is true. I'm never coming back to these old line shack blues. Ooh, I'm all alone, up here where the zephyrs and the coyotes moan. Ooh, it's lonesome too. A man could lose his mind from them old line shack blues. A man could lose his mind from them old line shack blues.
And now back to Colleen's story.
So anyway, so we walked. Somebody stayed up with 3 horses up at the top, and then 2 of us walked down to him, and he's just laying there. And we brought the gun with us, just thinking, this is what's going to have to happen. I mean, to watch him, the way he rolled was just something else. And anyways, and so we get down to him, and we undo the ropes and stuff, and take the pack off. He's alive, right? And so we take the pack off and everything, and undo the cinches and everything, and then get him to get up, and we don't see anything immediate that's broken or anything, and he jumps up, and everything's working. What the heck? The pack box is what saved his life. The pack box, we have these, the ones we're using are these Pokiak. They're soft plastic. You can get a harder plastic pack box, and they just smash right away when they hit something. This is a real soft plastic. And it was from the outside, it was bent all the way into the inside of the box. Yeah, and so some rock he hit had just, crushed it, right? And so if that had been his ribs, I mean, that would have been...
Just like he's wearing a big flak jacket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. And then he had one good cut on his pole, all the way to the bone. And so that was real lucky. Nothing happened there. And then he had one at his stifle. Again, just about to the bone. And anyways, I mean, we were 2 days back. What do? You pack up and keep going.
Oh,
right?
man.
So,
anything in the pack survive that?
Everything. The eggs.
No, you're
The
kidding.
eggs weren't even broken. We were so proud, right? Yeah, we're professional packers.
Yeah, we pack it this way. Look what we can do.
Totally. And no, nothing was broken, and not even the fishing rod. I don't know how that one made it, but anyways, and so we packed them all back up and led them up to where the other horses were, and rode out.
Did he follow a little better after that?
He followed perfect. Yeah, he sure did. But then we're over the worst of it. So then after that, we'd let him through anyways. But and the next day when we woke up in the morning, he was swollen and quite stiff. And we didn't bring any bute with us on that trip, which we were kind of kicking ourselves for. So when we got out back home, then we buted him up and gave him penicillin and took care, and he just healed up just fine.
Wow.
But it was something to watch.
If you'd have had a camcorder, even a cell phone with a video camera in it, that would be all over YouTube now.
And not in a good way, probably. There's those animal activists again. It was something to see.
Coming up, our classic Song of the West and the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. Hod Ferris worked as a constable in the Calgary Police Force. He was a forest ranger and many other things, including being a very popular all-night DJ for many years in Calgary. He's also a fine performer and songwriter. One of his compositions, called I Heard the Bluebird Sing, turned into a gold record for the Browns. And now, here's Western music legend, former Sons of the Pioneers member Wesley Tuttle, in our classic song segment with another song written by Hod Ferris called Call of the Mountain.
I found my love in a mountain by the light of the mountain moon, where the breezes play and the tall pines sway and the birds sing a happy tune. I held her hand in the moonlight and I asked her to be my bride. All nature sang this song to me when she promised to be mine. I love you. I heard the little bird cry. I adore you. The wind in the tree did sigh. I want to hold you. Said the mountains gray and high. Then hand in hand by the preacher man, she became my loving bride. Now we've been married for many a year. We've traveled far and wide, from country towns to city squares, up and down the countryside. My wife and me and baby makes 3. We're as happy as we can be. Then every night when the sun goes down, I hear her call to me. I love you. Oh, hey, oh, I adore you. Oh, hey, I want to hold you. Oh, hey. Then hand in hand by the preacher man, she became my loving bride. her hair turns gray, I know just what we'll do. We'll pack our grips and head right back and make our dreams come true. We'll sit on the porch of the cabin door when the sun sinks in the blue. When the moon comes up and the night birds call, we'll listen to this tune. I love you. I heard the little bird cry, I adore you. The wind in the tree did sigh, I want to hold you. Said the mountains gray and high, then hand in hand by the preacher man, she became my loving bride.
Brian Salmon will be back at the Kamloops Cowboy Festival in March for My Money. He's a great example of everything a good cowboy poet should be. Powerful on-stage delivery, spellbinding style, and a brilliant writer. Here's Brian with Some Cows Are Just That Way.
Auction sales are common sights for folks to tip a jug, to meet and greet your neighbors, maybe share a little tug, or buy a pen of heifers to replace your aging herd. I'd simply wave to greet old friends, and then I got the word. Sold right up there, row 7, thank you, sir, goodbye. I realized the truth revealed and felt like I should cry. For she claimed the ring, a demon, and she left it plumb berserk, and cleaned out all the yard hands like a pit bull at his work. Some cows are just that way. She went charging down the alley, people scattered to and fro. Some cleared the pens and some dove through or slid out down below. Her nose a flowing mucus and her eyeballs glowing red. She'll calm down when you get her home, is what my partner said. You bet, some cows are just that way. She had a blend of plexiglass and wiring hung upon her horns. As I swung the door to turn her loose, my spirits now forlorn. So I talked to her in quiet tones. She charged me sure and fast. My heart rate soars, I'm running scared, my life a flashing past. Some cows run that way. I holler sick 'em to my cow dog who can really pack the torch, but he goes streaking by me and dives beneath the porch. And he stayed there for a couple days, hoping she might never see. He whines a lot and whimpers now and even squats to pee. Some cows affect dogs that way. And I'm thinking I should brand her up if I can find a hand, but a survey of her mangy hide shows nowhere I could land. She's been evicted several times like redirected mail, a display of ranchers' autographs that sent her down the trail. Some cows are just movers. We took her on and calved her out, and when baby hit the ground, it changed her whole composure. It got worse, is what I found. She became baby's protector, no intrusions around this joint, and caved my dually door in just to prove her bovine point. Some cows will point that way. But she always brought her calf in from the pastures in the fall, and he'd be fat and sassy with the closing season's call. She's never had a vet bill. I've never trimmed her feet. She's birthed me 7 weanlings and done the job complete. Some cows do try. And for the dangers of the ranges, she's always stands on guard. For fate to steal her calf away would test out mighty hard. I've seen the evidence in the sand that proves she's hard to beat, where she bit a chunk from some wolf's tail as he made his retreat. Some cows are carnivores. Well, the liners came to haul the calves a couple weeks ago, and we loaded culls and swing bags. It was her time, you know. She took out a span of 4-inch pine, the rails that formed the corral, and headed west running hard like she'd escaped from hell. Some cows are vindictive. Now she's out there with the heifers. Let's just keep her 1 more year. There's extra feed and water, and she's used to things out here. We got our credits yesterday. We did good at the scale. And that cranky cow with 220 tag, her calf just topped the sale. Some cows are just that way.
Good one, Brian. Well, thank you so much for making the ride this week, and I sure hope you can join us right here next week at the same time. And thanks again to our awesome support crew, Mark and Kathy McMillan. And you know, if you're looking for tractor parts, any make, any year, you can probably find them. Just see Mark's page, bctractorparts.com. And there's always great reading in every issue of Canadian Cowboy Country magazine. Subscribe online at cowboycountrymagazine.com or give them a call at 1-800-943-7336. Till next week, I'm Hugh McLennan. Hope to see you down the trail somewhere real soon.